A thumbnail does not need to summarize the entire video. It needs to help the right viewer recognize the subject and understand why this version is worth attention. The failure begins when packaging is separated from the content. A team finishes a video, asks an image model for something viral, and chooses the loudest result. The image may earn curiosity, but it creates an expectation the video never intended to satisfy. That gap damages trust even when the click happens. Start with the video's real promise. Write one sentence describing the viewer's current state, the change the video delivers, and the proof shown inside. For a workflow video, the promise may be movement from scattered steps to one reviewable system. For a comparison, it may be clarity about a trade-off. For a tutorial, it may be a finished result the viewer can reproduce. The thumbnail should visualize the tension or the change, not add a second unrelated promise. The title and image work as a pair. If the title explains the method, the image can show the before and after state. If the title asks a question, the image can show the evidence object. Avoid repeating the same phrase in both places. Good packaging is not less persuasive because it is honest. It is more precise about who should click and what they will receive. Before generating images, create a thumbnail concept brief. The brief should fit on one page and answer 5 questions. Who is the intended viewer? What question should the image create? What single object or relationship carries the idea? What must remain true to the video? And what should be forbidden? The forbidden list is important because image generation tools are optimized to produce visually dramatic results, not to preserve your editorial boundaries automatically. For Atlas, forbidden elements include fabricated analytics, fake income dashboards, unsupported platform logos, misleading warning screens, and expressions that imply fear where the video offers a calm workflow. Choose one focal object. A stack of 20 icons is not a concept. A single messy pile collapsing into 3 labeled layers is a concept because the relationship is immediately readable. Define the emotional temperature. A policy video may use caution and contrast, but it should not look like an emergency unless the content documents a real emergency. Define the crop and device context. Long-form thumbnails need to remain legible at a very small size, so small interface text cannot carry the message. Finally, write the success test in plain language. A viewer should understand scattered tools versus structured workflow without reading more than 3 words. The concept brief keeps AI image generation inside the editorial system. It also lets designers create materially different variants without drifting away from the actual promise. A useful thumbnail test compares different concepts, not tiny cosmetic changes. If one version uses cyan text and another uses amber text, the test cannot tell you which idea the viewer understood. Build 3 variants that package the same honest promise from different angles. Variant 1 can show a state change, chaos on the left, a clear 3-layer system on the right. Variant 2 can show an evidence object, a marked-up script with a visible human approval gate. Variant 3 can focus on the creator's role, a person directing a workflow while automation handles the repeated operations. Keep the title stable when the goal is to compare thumbnail concepts. Keep the overall brand recognizable, but allow the composition, focal object, and reading path to change. Use generated assets as raw material. Then review them for impossible interfaces, malformed icons, accidental brand marks, and details that imply evidence the video does not contain. A generated chart with numbers may look professional while inventing performance data. Remove it. A photorealistic public figure may create an unnecessary disclosure or rights issue. Replace it with an abstract editorial graphic. The final variants should be materially different in the question they create, yet equally true to the video. That balance makes the test informative. You are not asking which decoration wins. You are asking which truthful framing helps the intended viewer recognize the value fastest. Thumbnail design should be reviewed at the size where most viewers encounter it, not only on a large editing canvas. Reduce the image until the details are uncomfortable. The concept should still survive. Use one dominant focal object, one supporting relationship, and a background that separates them clearly. Text should be short enough to read as a shape before it is read as a sentence. If the image needs 8 words to explain the concept is not visual enough. Check the reading path. The eye should move from the main state or object to the tension, then toward the element that resolves the question. Avoid placing equal emphasis on every component. Visual hierarchy is not about making everything larger. It is about making the order of attention obvious. Check color contrast, but do not rely on color alone to communicate good versus bad. Use structure, direction, and shape so the idea remains legible across screens and accessibility conditions. Remove small screenshots that become texture. If a real interface is important, crop to the single recognizable action and replace tiny labels with a clean editorial callout that does not pretend to be the interface itself. Then test the image beside nearby thumbnails, not in isolation. The goal is not to be the loudest object on the page. The goal is to be the clearest, truthful option for the viewer the video was made to help. Before testing a thumbnail, review it as an editorial claim. Ask what the image implies even when no sentence states it. A pile of cash implies a financial result. A platform warning screen implies an account event. A chart with an upward line implies measured growth. If the video does not contain that proof, the image should not borrow it. Check the relationship between title and image. Together, they may create a stronger claim than either creates alone. Check generated assets for realistic people, places, or events that could mislead viewers about what happened. YouTube's synthetic content guidance distinguishes production assistance and clearly unrealistic graphics from meaningfully altered realistic scenes. The safest Atlas approach is to use original editorial illustration, abstract interface objects, and assets the team has rights to use. Check logos and product marks. A video can discuss a platform while the thumbnail still uses the mark in a confusing or unauthorized way. When possible, communicate the concept through neutral device shapes and text labels. Keep a record of the final concept brief, source assets, generation prompt, edits, and human approval. The review should end with a simple question. If a viewer watched the entire video, would they say the thumbnail accurately represented the value? If the answer depends on explaining that the image was only a metaphor, simplify it. Strong packaging can create curiosity without fabricating proof. A thumbnail test needs a hypothesis. Write what you believe the new concept will improve and why. For example, the state change thumbnail may help new viewers understand the workflow promise faster than the document-focused thumbnail. Keep the video and title stable when the purpose is to compare images. Avoid changing the thumbnail immediately after changing the title, publish time, and description because the result will not identify the cause. Give the test enough exposure to be meaningful for the channel's current size, but do not treat a small early difference as a universal law. Audience composition changes over time, and a thumbnail that performs for returning viewers may not perform the same way for new viewers. Evaluate the click decision together with the viewing experience. A higher click-through rate is not a success if the packaging attracts viewers who leave when the video delivers a different promise. Look at retention near the opening and at qualitative feedback that reveals confusion. Document the date, variant, title, hypothesis, audience context, and decision. If a concept wins, record the principle rather than copying the design mechanically. The principle may be that a visible transformation communicated the value better than an abstract document. That learning can inform a future concept without turning every thumbnail into the same before and after. Controlled testing produces reusable judgment, not just a winning image. The complete system begins when the script is locked, not after the render is finished. Extract the real promise, viewer, tension, and proof from the content brief. Turn those into a thumbnail concept brief with a focal object, emotional temperature, crop requirement, and forbidden implications. Produce 3 materially different concepts. Review every asset for clarity, truth, rights, and synthetic realism. Build the final variants with consistent Atlas typography and color, then inspect them at small size and beside other videos. Package the approved image with the video hash and metadata so the uploader knows which thumbnail belongs to which canonical render. After publishing, run a controlled comparison where the platform and channel support it. Record the hypothesis and context, and evaluate clicks together with viewer satisfaction signals. Feed the principle into the next brief, not the entire composition. This is the same Atlas rule used across production. Automate the repeatable operation while keeping the editorial decision visible. AI can generate options, remove backgrounds, explore layouts, and speed up resizing. It should not decide which implication is honest or which promise the video can defend. The creator owns that judgment. A strong thumbnail system does not guarantee performance. It reduces random packaging decisions, prevents misleading shortcuts, and creates a clean learning loop. That is enough to make every new test more deliberate than the last.